Hi, this is NLR Commerce Academy. I am Akkala Rajshekhar. So today we have discussed to the organizational behavior. Organizational behavior is a branch of the social sciences that seeks to build theories that can be applied to predicting, understanding, and controlling behavior in work organizations by the Raman J. Aldag. Organization behavior is a field of study that investigates the impact the individuals, groups, and structures have on behavior within the organization for the goal of applying such knowledge toward improving an organization's effectiveness, according to Stephen P. Robbins. In the normal way, an organization is a group of people who work independently towards some purpose. Organizations are not building or other physical structures. Rather, organizations are people who work together to achieve a set of goals. So, let us we have understanding organizational behavior through the chart. Organizational behavior provides set of tools that allow people to understand, analyze, and describe behavior in organizations. In the other way, managers to improve, enhance, or change work behaviors so that individuals, groups, and the whole organizations can achieve their goals. Okay, nothing but the people's ideas, attitudes, emotions, and actions in the workplace are referred to as organizational behavior. In simple, if individual person how to work in organization, in that workplace which type of behavior is there, what are the factors are influenced by the individual behavior. So these are total called the organizational behavior. So that is the next one, main elements of organizational behavior. So it is an investigative study of individual and group. Yes, it is the main investigative study because the individual person how to behave in the organization and how to behave in the group of the people. So these are there, and impact of organization structure on human behavior. That means we are taking so many organization structures are there. The different structures are different ways. At that time, the individual person also behave in the based on the organizational structure, and application of knowledge to achieve organization's effectiveness. These are three elements of organizational behavior. Next, characteristics of organizational behavior. So in this study of human behavior, the behavior of groups of people working in an organization and that impact of situational factors are all important. So now we have understand the mainly characteristics. Number one, a distinct field of study. Yes, the organizational behavior is a distinct area of the study. In this area is a lot of research and analysis has been done because it is the science and as well as art, because so many years so many authors also study and research on the organizational behavior. Okay, next second one is the an interdisciplinary orientation. So in organizational behavior as a multidisciplinary focus, because it is not based on single theoretical framework, it is a different areas also taking. because it attempts to bring together pertinent knowledge, that means main organizational behavior knowledge from the fields including psychology, sociology, and anthropology in order to apply to the study and analysis of organizational behavior, because it has become a very strong and unique approach to concepts drawn from other fields like that personality, motivation, etc. Next, a normative science, applied science. The very nature of organizational behavior is a applied research, because the application of diverse research to tackle organizational challenges relating to human behavior is what organizational behavior is all about. Already we have research studies there like that Hawthorne experiments, F.W. Taylor and Henry Fayol administration theory. These are theories are explained to the what was the individual behavior in the organization. So what was the changes in that? What are the challenges are faced by the individuals in the organization or workplace? So these type of research are recognized the some theories. That type of theories also applied in the organizational behavior. Next, a normative science. An organizational behavior is also a normative science because it indicates how the results of applied research might be applied to socially acceptable organizational goals, whereas positive science slowly deals with the cause and effect relationship also is there. Next one is the humanistic and optimistic research. In the organizational behavior applies a humanistic approach because the individuals who work for the company, and it is concerned with the how people think and feel. So organizational behavior is concerned with the organization's human capital, which must be treated with great care and attention, because more experienced person is most important because he is the more expensive. Next, total system approach. Yes, the organizational behavior is the systematic approach because the so many behavioral scientists are developed the systematic approach to study the human behavior in relation to its socio-psychological context, because it considers all of the elements that affect organizational functioning. Next one is the evolution of models. Yes, so many models also introduced in the organizational behavior like that autocratic model in the leadership styles, custodial model, supportive model, and collegiate model, stimulus organism behavior, consequences models are all examples of the organizational behavior models. These models are implicated to the smoothly running of the business. Next, aims to improve organizational effectiveness, as every organization is must to aim the objective of the organizations. At that time, every organization also set the goal for every worker. That worker take or reach that goal through the individual goal also implicated to the organizational goal, because the worker is mainly work for the salary and other benefits and other some socio factors. So these type of implications are implemented by the organization, at that time the goal is fulfilled by the individual, so that person automatically work for the organizational goal. So these are most effectiveness of the organization. So this type of also fulfilled by the organizational behavior. Next one, science as well as an art. Yes, organization behavior is the both a science and as well as art, because it is a science to have a systematic understanding of human behavior, like that psychology subject is there. The subject is science, and it is an art to put that knowledge and expertise in the practice, because it is an art. So this type of organizational behavior is applied by the who is the top levels of the employees or CEO manager. So it is the art who is the manage the organization behavior by the manager. So it is the art. Next, behavioral approach to management. As the organization behavior is represented to the behavioral approach to management, because which is an aspect of overall management. It is importance of human behavior in organizations. As already we have learned, individual behavior is related to the organizational behavior. We have learned the next two slides also there. Next, concerned with environment. As organizational behavior is concerned with the issues such as environmental compatibility, person culture fit, multicultural management, and so on. Contingency approach. Yes, more authors are developed by the contingency approach. So in terms of organizational behavior, there are relatively few absolutes. The approach is aimed to determining the best appropriate managerial actions for a given situation. Next, value centered. Is organizational behavior is the value based science. It is useful behavioral science that has been applied to understand and modify human behavior in the workplace. It implies research, theories, and experiments also. Example for the contingency approach through the value centered. Next, employs two kinds of logic. Okay, employs two kinds of logic. Yes, it is implies two different types of logic is there. Number one, objective, and number two, subjective logic. So the goal of objectivity is to arrive at a conclusion based on the empirical evidence. Yes, already we have discussed in the individual person that goals are aimed at. Automatically subjective is the process of solving an issue using intuition, common sense, experience, metaphors, learning from stories and instances, persuasive literature, and other method also there in the subjective logic. Next one is individual similarities and differences are studied. As so individual, each person is different in the organization and in the group of the peoples, but it comes to likes, dislikes, professions or occupations, interests, and so on is there. But people are both similar but distinct in the aims. Within the border of the parameters, find persons with similar physical, psychological, social, and religious abilities. Individuals are similar to one another within the specific limitation of generic inheritance in humans. These are individual similarities and differences are studied in the organizational behavior. Cause and effect relationship. In the human behavior is usually analyzed in terms of cause and effect. As The cause and effective relationship is mainly human behavior is analyzed. Rather than philosophically, it helps in prediction of human behavior. It offers generalizations that managers might use to predict how specific activities would affect human behavior. Next, three levels of analysis. Three levels of analysis. So, individual behavior, interindividual behavior, and behavior of organizations. These are the three levels of organizational behavior. We have first understanding the individual behavior, and second understanding the interindividual behavior, and that individual behavior in the organization. That is there. So, all of these levels are included in the field of organizational behavior as complementary to one another. Next, a body of theory, research and application. In the organizational behavior, it is a collection of theories, studies and applications that helps in the comprehension of human behavior in the organizations. So these type of methods are support managers in resolving human issues in their organization, beneficial to both organizations and individuals, because the organization behavior is applied research and it is applied taken from the research studies. So these are benefited to the organization as well as individuals. Next, rational thinking. So in the rational thinking about people and their behavior is provided by the organizational behavior. So the basic goal of the organizational behavior is to understanding the and predict the human behavior in the organization. So these are the next elements of organizational behavior. There are majorly four types of elements are there. Number one, people. This is also known as the employees. So people are live moving objects within an organization. The organizations are internal and social system is made up of people. So individuals and groups make up these entities. So these people are also one of the major element of the organizational behavior. Number two, structure. As structure is nothing but organizational structures. So different structures are taken by the different organizations. The work is complicated and different people must execute different tasks. Different types of positions have been formed to the carry out duties in the organization. Different people are allocated different responsibilities in an organization and they are all kind to set a relationship with others. It is the based on the structure of organizations. It is the second one of the element of organization behavior. Next, technology is in the nowadays the technology is different way. So the technology is the application of scientific knowledge to practical use. It is equips employees with the resources and equipment they need to execute their job well. Organizations use technology to develop buildings, prepare device designs, decide work processes and assemble resources. Which type of equipment used, which type of building structure is there, which type of machines are used. So these are all the technology. Okay, so it is also impact to the organizational behavior. Next, environment. Yes, it is the most important factor or element of the organizational behavior. So environment is also known as social system because different peoples are worked in the organization. These different peoples are from the different areas, come from the different areas. as the work environment and the context to which the organization can operate are determined by the social system. No organization can function without the support of society. Every business operates within a certain internal and external environment. Next, importance of organizational behavior. Yes, already we have learned the characteristics of organizational behavior as the same is there. Number one, understanding the relationship between organization and its employees and employee motivation, improving industrial relations, effective use of human resources, predicting human behavior, and predict certain behavioral responses to change, control behavior, provides a roadmap for outlife in the workplace. These are the major impact of the advantages or importance of the organizational behavior. Next, historical background of organizational behavior. So in the 1900 or 18, we have taken 1800 to 1900, okay, like that. Charles Babbage, Adam Smith, Robert Owen. So these type of authors also used the organization behavior boundaries in the 17th century. Okay, like the wealth of nations. The Adam Smith articulated the economic benefit. That the division of labor. This also related to the organization and society. Okay, so in the 18th century, 19th century also used the organizational behavior, but in the major impacted in the organizational behavior from after onwards 18th century. So this historical background through the derived the three types. Number one, classical era, behavioral era, system theory of management. These are there. So first we have understanding the classical era. So under classical era, four types of theories are there. Number one, scientific management. It is developed by the F.W. Taylor. Administrative theory developed by the Henry Fayol. Bureaucratic approach developed by the Max Weber. Social man theory developed by the Mary Parker Follett and Chester Bernard. So in the scientific management, it is developed by the F.W. Taylor. It is the first theory of the management as well as organizational behavior. That's why the F.W. Taylor is known as father of the management. So this theory called for the use of specific steps in the scientific study of each part of a job, the selection and training of the best workers for the job, and ensuring that workers follow the job's prescribed method. So this scientific method followed some principles, that is the science, not the rule of thumb. It is only science is taken to the parameters. Harmony, not discord. Mental revolution, cooperation, not individualism. It is communicated. The work is communicated. Development of every person to his great efficiency. And some techniques also followed by the scientific management, that is the work study. It is essential in the systematic approach. Standardization of tools and equipment for work standards. Scientific task setting, differential piece rate plan, scientific selection and training, functional foremanship. So these are techniques and principles followed in the scientific management. Number 2 is the administrative theory. It is developed by the Henry Fayol. So the Henry Fayol is set a 14 principles that he feels from the basis for great and successful companies. Fayol agreed with many of Taylor's concepts and ideas. The primary difference is that Taylor concentrated on the most efficient job completion process. That means FW Taylor is followed only job completion process, but Fayol focuses on whole organization structure of the company. Okay, these are the 14 principles also there, that is the division of work, authority and responsibility, discipline, unity of command, unity of direction, subordination of individual interest, remuneration, centralization, scalar chain, order, equity, stability of tenure, initiative, spirit de corps. These are 14 management principles are essential tools for forecasting, planning, process management, organization management, decision making, coordination and control in organizations. Next, number 3 is the bureaucratic approach. It is developed by the Max Weber. He is a German sociologist. Described the bureaucratic management approach, often known as the bureaucratic approach, is also known as Weberian bureaucracy, as a philosophy for running an organization efficiently. He advocated a plutocratic model of organization that he said would work for all types of organizations. The ideal bureaucracy, according to Weber, was logical, rational, and efficient. He made the naive assumption that a single structure would work best for all the organizations. That means the bureaucratic approach is applicable to the any type of organization. We have taken any structure of organization, that is the bureaucratic approach is easily applicable, because it is emphasized the necessity of organizations to function rationally rather than the following the arbitrary whims or irrational emotions and objectives of owners and managers. Okay, the Max Weber is outlined the following 6 bureaucratic management principles, that is the proper division of labor. So division of labor is derived from the Henry Fayol principle. Next, chain of command. As command authority is there. Separation of personal and official property, as organizational assets and individual assets are differentiated or differentiated. Okay, application of consistent and complete rules, qualifications based on selection and promotion, as workers must be selected and promoted on the basis of equalization such as skills, experience, age and qualifications. So these 5 principles are taken by the Max Weber for the bureaucratic approach. Next, social man theory. So in F.W. Taylor developed a scientific management, Henry Fayol administrative theory, Max Weber bureaucratic approach. These 3 approaches or theories are developed for the management point of view, and organization point of view, but social man theory is applicable individual point of view also. Okay, because these more threes are fact that humans are social animals and that they are the center of any organization, because the individuals or humans are worked for the money. His work is more important for money. So the relevance of the social side of organization was recognized by the Mary Parker Follett and Chester Bernard in the social man theory. Despite in 1930s, because we have understanding after 1930 World War I, after World War II, so many changes are there. So at that time the social man theory is developed. Okay, Mary Parker was the first to understand that organization could be regarded from both an individual and a group standpoint. His humanistic concept shaped how we think about motivation, leadership, power, and authority today. And Chester Bernard, on the other hand, saw organization as social system that required human interaction. That's why he stated that success depends on maintaining positive interpersonal relationships, and he proposed that managers examine the environment before adjusting the organizational to maintain stable state. Next, number 2 era is behavioral era. The behavioral era, so during what is known as the behavioral era, the human side of the organization comes into its own. The human relations movement and the widespread use of behavioral research characterized in this era. The era saw the rise of personal officers as well as development of industrial psychology. In the United States, the Wages Act of 1935, sometimes known as the Magna Carta of Labor, was passed. It legitimized union positions. It legitimized unions positions for rapid union membership growth. At that time, there are three individuals who are significant in covering the concept that human relationships are the most essential, like that Abraham Maslow, Douglas McGregor, Elton Mayo, Frederick Herzberg, and others also there, Dale Carnegie, B.F. Skinner, David McClelland, Jacob Morano, Fred Fedler, Richard Hackman, and Greg Woodman. So these type of authors are developed by the behavioral era. So number 1, we have understanding the Maslow's hierarchy of needs. The psychological, safety, social, esteem, and self-actualization needs are Maslow's established as a theoretical hierarchy. He argued that everyone has to be satisfied before moving on to the next step. Self actualization or fulfilling one's full potential, he believed, he was the apex of human beings' existence. Managers that believe in his theory make changes to their organizations and management practices. Next, Theory X and Theory Y, Douglas McGregor. So, McGregor is best known for coining the terms Theory X and Theory Y to describe two sets of assumptions. The first assumes that people lack of ambition, dislike work, want to escape responsibility, and require close supervision in order to work well. People can exercise self direction, accept responsibility, and see work as natural as a rest or play according to theory Y. That means theory X is the negative shade, theory Y is the positive shade of the work. Okay, next one is the Hawthorne experiments, Elton Mayo. So in the Hawthorne experiments, Elton Mayo described. So in this Hawthorne experiments, how to work the individual, what are the problems are faced by the individuals, and what are the problems are faced by the organization through the organizational behavior in the management theory. The behavioral approach is also taking individual behavior, group behavior also in the Hawthorne experiments. And two-factor theory developed by the Frederick Hertzberg. Okay, Frederick Hertzberg work aimed to provide an answer to the topic of what people anticipate from their jobs. He came to the conclusion that individuals are interested in the job. People may not be motivated by the creation of new jobs. Manager must adopt jobs to allow people to accomplish more and different tasks if they wish to motivate them. Hedgework research is responsible for the current interest in job enrichment and improving quality of work life. That means the two-factor theory is there. So first factor is the job satisfaction and second factor is the job dissatisfaction information is there. Next, other type of behavior errors are there. Next, number one, how to win friends and influence people. Dal Carnegie. The Dal Carnegie is written by the book of How to Win Friends and Influence People. That means an individual behavior is different phase there. At that time, the individual person how to win friends and how to communicate the people, how to influence the other persons. In the Dal Carnegie book is there. Next, training programs and reward system by the B.F. Skinner. Okay, the B.F. Skinner is described and influenced the design of organizational training programs as well as reward system. People are more likely to engage in the described behavior if they are rewarded for it according to his findings. These rewards are more effective if they are given right after the intended reactions, and non-rewarded or personalized behavior is less likely to be repeated. Next, analyze group interactions. Group interactions. These are Jacob Moreno. The Jacob Moreno is analyzed group interactions, developed geometry, analytical technique. He advised a sociogram that revealed group members' tendencies of attraction, repulsion, and empathy is there. Next one, achievement motivation theory. David McDonald. The McDonald is derived the finding they have helped firms in better matching people to better positions and redesigning work for high performing employees in order to rekindle their motivational potential. Next, comprehensive leadership. It is developed by the Fred Fiedler. Fred Fiedler, or this theory is developed for the questionnaire to assess an individual inherent leadership traits and determine the most effective leadership style. And next one is the employee motivation and satisfaction. It is developed by the J. Richard Hackman and Greg Woodman. So it is depend upon the employee motivation and satisfaction are influenced by the work related factors. So the key dimension of work such as a skill variety, task identity, task importance, authority and feedback were also revealed through this research. So next we have understanding the modal approaches. Under modal approaches there are two theories are there. Number one, system theory. So this theory is developed different authors. Number one, Ludwig von Bertalanffy, Chester Bernard, Daniel Koch, Robert Kahn, Peter Senge, Russell Ackoff. So, in the in this theory, we have understanding the management must consider the external environmental factors that influence the organization in order to operate effectively. So, in this external environment, the organization system follow the four key components, that is the inputs. What are the inputs of the organization? Like that, money, materials, people, that means human resources, machines, and other type of resources of information are all inputs into a system. So these type of inputs are required for the production of goods and services. Number 2, transformation services or transformation process. So in this process, managerial and technological capabilities are used to inputs through outputs, into inputs into outputs through transformation processed or flows. Outputs, as the organization's outputs are its products, services, benefits, and other outcomes. Feedback, information concerning the organization's result and position in respect of the environment in which it operates, referred to as feedback. Nothing but we have produced the product, what is the utilization of the product in the industry level, on the marketing level, what was the position of the organization, we have taken the feedback. Next, in the system theory of management, different types of systems are there, that is the open system and close ended system. These are system theory. Next, contingency theory. So this theory also developed by the few authors, Fred Fiedler, Tom Burns, G.M. Stalker, John Woodward, Paul Lawrence, Joy Laws. So this theory assumption behind a contingency management approach is that the best course of management action in contingency on the internal and external situations, because there is a no better to organize a company. Management actions must evolve and adapt to various scenarios. So these are the modern approaches of the organizational behavior. So already we have discussed to the historical background of organization. So let us simply verify that formal study of organizational behavior began in 1890s, that is the Industrial Revolution movement. In 1890s, F.W. Taylor identified the positive effect of precise instructions, goal setting, reward, or motivation. These ideas become scientific management, considered as the beginning of the formal study of organizational behavior. So, these are four principles also there: scientific management, studying task using time and motion study, scientifically selecting, train and develop workers, managers provide detailed instructions, divide work between workers, and human resource management. The failure of scientific management, because scientific management is derived and applicable to the management and organization point of view, not social point of view. So that time the scientific management is failed. At the failure of scientific management, the human resource movement is birthed. The characterized by the heavy emphasis on workers, cooperation, and morale. People are treated as human beings and not machines. As people are treated as human beings, not a machine, because he is a worker, he is a human being. So, giving more importance to their needs and problems. Three reasons contributed to the recognition of human factor in an organization. That is the Great Depression of 1929. The First World War is there. Hawthorne experiments, labor movements in the industrial revolutions. Great Depression, crash of American market lead to worldwide depression, unemployment, collapse of economy, and realized that production alone is not management function, because The production is only management function is not there. So many factors also there, like that marketing, finance, and human resources are required for the survival of the business. After math, human problems, role of personal department, human relations got direct and indirect significance. Labor movement is there. The continuous exploration made workers to realize their protections. That means the workers are only worked, not a machines. The workers are not a machines. It is not continuously working is there. There is no rest. Okay, so that's why the workers also realize at that moment production lies in their own hands. Formulated labor union that had desired effect on management, working hours, conditions, and wage policies. Unions also incorporated human relations in organizations. Next, Hawthorne experiments and effect is there. The series of experiments that came be known as the Hawthorne studies were conducted on Western Electric plant workers in Hawthorne City. This effect occurs when people improve same aspect of their behavior or performance simply because they know that they are being assessed. Research involved the following the study. The illumination is experiments first 3 years 1924 to 27. Light decreased for experimental group and kept constant for other. Productivity is increased in the same rate, but workers work harder when watched. The next is relay assembly test room experiments, and the same way after 3 years 1927 to 28 a test room experiment is there. Workers segregated on the basis of definite range of working conditions variables such as workroom temperature, work schedule, work break, etc. Recorded the time taken by employees to collect telephone relo. Productivity based increased irrespective of how factors manipulated. Employees' attitude and sentiments such as psychological attachments with organizations were critically important variables are there in the test room experiments. Next, interviewing workers after test room experiments in 1928. Directly interviewed workers to find out what is the important to them in the opinion. So first workers are said to open up and talk freely about what is the most important, what are at time problematic issues in their minds, led to the informal organization and its relationship to the formal organization, led to rich understanding of the social interpersonal dynamics of people at work. So, back winning room experiments. This experiment confirmed the effect of the power of the peer group and importance of group influence on workers' behavior and productivity. The higher the rooms, the greater the productivity, and vice versa. So, the history of organization behavior begins with the work of F.W. Taylor. So, that's why the F.W. Taylor is known as father of the management when the developed scientific management and encompasses the studies with Hawthorne studies. Next, approaches to organizational behavior. There are four approaches also there. Number one, human resource approach. Number two, contingency approach. Number three, productivity approach. Number four, system approach. In the human resource approach, we have followed the aims to help employees and improve and become more responsible before attempt to create an environment in which they can contribute to the best of their ability. Contingency approach, already we have discussed contingency approach. Productivity approach, in this the ratio that compress units of output to units of input is called the productivity. The higher this ratio value is there, the more efficient and effective management is there. That is next, system approach, already we have discussed system approach. The system is there, that is the input and output. So what are inputs are the subsystem, goals, values, technology. We have discussed to the system approach. The inputs, what are inputs? Resources like that, money, machinery, human resource also there. These are approaches of the organizational behavior. Next, we have understanding the relationship between OB and the individual. OB means organizational behavior. So first let us we have understanding the individual behavior. The individual behavior can be defined as a combination of external and internal stimulation of responses. It is how a person behaves in various situations and shows various emotions such as anger, happiness, love, and so on. It examines a person's personality, learning, attitudes, motivation, and job satisfaction. Like that, personal interviews, for example, are used to interact with candidates and verify their talents beyond those listed on their resume, as they are put in different physical situations, time periods, social conditions. Each person is markedly different from others in terms of personality, needs, demographic factors, and past experience also there. So the four major factors that influence an individual's behavior, like that, number one, individual character. Every person have character is there, that are personality, attitudes, perceptions, and values are examples of these type of individual characteristics. Next, individual motivation. It interacts with one's ability to work to determine one's level of performance. Next, reward or punishment. Using behavior modification approaches to improve performance and control misbehavior falls under this category. Stress. A sensation of emotional or badly tension is referred to as stress. Any event or thought that makes you annoyed, furious, or nervous can trigger it there. These are four major factors for there. Next, we have understanding the group behavior. Before group behavior, once we can repeat, the study of organizations' collective and individual performance and activities is known as the organizational behavior. It assesses its impact on work structure, productivity, communication, motivation, leadership, and decision making ability, among other things. There are two viewpoints on how a person and a group behave, namely internal, that means person, and external, that means group behavior. The study of group behavior focuses on the formation, structure, and effectiveness of organizations. The group behavior is defined as groups' efforts to fulfill the organization's aim. In a nutshell, it is how group acts. Okay, so the group act as such as way of thinking, multidisciplinary, humanistic orientation. So the relationship between OB and the individual, these are there, but the relationship between the other subjects also they related to the fields, also related to the organization behavior, like that psychology, sociology, anthropology, socio-psychology, political science, economics, science, technology, engineering, management, medicine. So many types of fields are utilized to the organizational behavior. Next, we have understanding the framework of organizational behavior. So the framework of organizational behavior totally we have already discussed in the latter, like that cognitive framework of behavior, behavioristic framework, social cognitive framework. Okay, so what is cognitive framework of behavior? So in the cognitive framework of behavior, personal factors are there, that is knowledge, expectations, attitudes of the individuals. Next, behavioral framework. Behavioristic framework, Ivan Powell and John B. Waston, two pioneering behaviorists, are highlighted to the importance of examining observable behaviors rather than the illusive mind. They studied the stimulus impact and concluded that learning happens when the relationship between the stimulus and the response are established. Okay. Next, social cognitive framework. According to this framework, behavior is a best described by the constant reciprocal interaction of cognitive, behavioral, and environmental variables. These are the framework of organizational behavior is dependent on the cognitive personal factors and environmental factors, that is the social norms, access in community, influence on others, and behavioral factors like that skills, practice, self efficiency. These are determine the human behavior learning. Next, we have understanding the limitations. If any positive actions are there, but some negative shades also there, that is the called limitations of organization behavior. So the OB is not an exact science, that will vary depending on the company. When it comes to leadership, that does not aim to improve workplace culture, job satisfaction, employee retention. Organizational behavior has limits as a part of the whole company, like that. Behavioral bias. The majority of workplace biases are unconscious, influencing decision in subtle ways that decision maker is unaware of. Therefore, some employees are regarded and treated unfairly in the comparison to the rest of the company's workforce. Some but like that, some persons are work hardly in the organization. Some persons are not worked in hardly, but these not work hardly persons are mostly influence the managers and favorable thoughts are there. At that time, the manager point of view, favorable thoughts to the not working, not hard working employees. At that time, that type of employees is good positions, but hard working employees are not good in the manager point of view. Like that, any issues are there, like that some employee explained to the that person is not worked. So this type of topics are there in the this type of factors are not consider the organizational behavior. Next, law of diminishing returns. Yes, law of diminishing returns principle also applicable. These economic terms refer to the organizational behavior based on the principle of equilibrium, which states that once a desirable point has been reached, such as the optimal relationship between employee satisfaction and productivity, increasing the desirable facet will result in decrease in production. Like that, if in the individual behavior, like that individual person reach the highest position, highest goal of the individual, at that time automatically full satisfied is there. At that time the productivity also decreased, that output is decreased, and unethical practices and manipulation of people, as already we have discussed. While organization behavior provides significant information, tools, and tactics for helping employees within an organization grow and develop to their potential, unethical explanation of this information is major concern. But this information also manipulated. Failure of individual on the domestic front. Yes, the individual is failure in the workplace. The subject enabled an individual to better understand human behavior at home. He or she may be failure in the organization. People with a broad understanding of behavioral sciences have occasionally turned out to be total complete wrecks in their personal lives. Next, failure to contribute to the improvement of interpersonal relations. Yes, contribute to the improvement of interpersonal relations also failure. At that time also the organizational behavior is not impacting. like that jealousy, backstabbing, tagging, intrigues, harassment, unequal rewards. So this type of is there. Organizational behavior is selfish and exploitative because every organization work for the organization goal, not consider the individual goal. Next, expectation of quick fix solutions. Quick fix solution is most negative shade because quick decisions are quickly failure. Next, conflict and frustration will not be completely eliminated by the organization behavior. It can only be reduced. Okay, so these are the introduction of organization behavior. So you have liked this video, you can one like, and you have interested to more updates from the NLR Commerce Academy, you can subscribe to NLR Commerce Academy channel for future updates. Thank you.